Tonight we're going to do something a little bit different. We haven't done this live before, but when people come to events at the Universal Studio or elsewhere, we normally go through a process of meditation and spiritual inquiry. And spiritual inquiry is a fundamental part of the process of spiritual self-realization. It's really answering the question, who am I? And resolving that question fully. And in that process of meditation inquiry, all sorts of kind of perceived blocks, emotions and so forth can come up. And that's a natural part of the process. So the purpose of the inquiry is for us to integrate the meditation practice with inquiry so that we bring them together into one realization of the self. And we use a process of looking at this question, who am I, and who is it that's experiencing these issues? As you'll experience hopefully shortly, assuming the Wi-Fi is with us. And we'll take it from there, and you'll be able to see hopefully how we approach that. So whilst we're just waiting for Christine to do that, I'll say a little bit more about spiritual inquiry. It's essentially the process of exploring the question, who am I really? And some of you will have experienced the who am I meditation that I do. So, and where we ask that question inside, and I ask that question in two ways. One, just the question, who am I? And then the other part that we do is, who am I without memory? And the reason that that part is important is that it creates a dissociation from both emotional and energetic memory, so that we can look more deeply into who we really are. So the issue for you that's come up, I've just explained a bit about the inquiry process, was abandonment. Do you want to just say a little bit more about how that's manifested to you? I know you mentioned it had come up before and it's come up again recently. So just can you just give us a bit of background on that and what your issue is there?
Well, I've kind of traced it back to childhood.
Right.
And it's from childhood into adulthood.
Yeah.
There have been a number of people,
and
where there's a situation cropped up with each one,
that's
suddenly created this feeling. This feeling has been placed upon me, of abandonment.
Right.
So it could be, for example, in a work situation where a colleague has suddenly said, "I'm leaving."
Right.
Suddenly this feeling of desolation and abandonment has come up.
Right.
Or it could have come from another person. I was having some treatment for something, and all of a sudden they didn't feel that they felt that they'd done everything they could to help me, and kind of felt they'd come to the end of the line with that, which was right, actually, they had. But then this sense of panic and feeling of abandonment came up, and I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do now? You know, it's been various situations with different people. Like I say, right from childhood right till now. And
okay, so it's manifested on a number of occasions throughout your life, and the first experience of it was in childhood that you can recall.
Yes, from a young age, from about maybe 10.
Right.
Maybe 10 or 11, I think. Could even have been before that.
Is that like a family member or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
It was a family member, yes, that
yeah,
I thought was going to. I felt like there was a threat of this person leaving the
yes,
family.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
And so what I can see now is that that feeling was a feeling of abandonment. I didn't realise at that time,
Yeah.
but over the years I've realised, yeah, it is a sense of abandonment.
Okay, good. Okay, so, and it's a felt sense, it's like a feeling in your body, this that you're talking about, that you can actually physically feel it, yeah. And,
Yeah,
and, and it doesn't feel,
I can physically feel it. Yeah.
yeah. And can you feel it here now?
How is it now? Sorry, you
Yeah,
went then.
is it here now?
Um, no,
No.
no,
No.
no. There's a sense of constriction coming up.
Constriction, okay.
Yeah,
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 okay. Right, and that's likely to...
because of the issue. Yeah,
Right, okay, so there's like a constriction, a contraction,
yeah, a
a,
contraction.
a
Yeah,
contraction, which you can
yeah,
feel in the body.
I
Good,
can
okay,
feel
so
it
that's
now.
good. Okay, so just what I would like you to do is just simply allow that feeling of constriction to be there. Don't fight it, don't judge it, just simply observe it as an invitation to move beyond it. And in the noticing of that feeling of constriction, however it may be manifesting and however strong or light it might be, simply observe that it's just simply there and that have no judgment about it. It's like you're watching this feeling from the inside, and it's like a wave that's arisen that may not have been there, say, 10, 15 minutes ago, but has now appeared as we've started to talk about it. And it's there and it's being watched. Now, the mere fact that you can report that feeling to me, that emotional sense of abandonment, and it can be witnessed or seen, what that means is that it's been seen from a deeper space of awareness. That makes sense to you?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. It's being observed, like it's there in front of you, so to speak, because there's a looking or a seeing from a deeper place. That making sense? Yeah. Now, this is very important as far as anything to do with the process of spiritual self-realization and awareness is concerned, is because the mere fact that we can recognize that there's an observation of an energy, of a feeling, it means that you're not that feeling or that emotion. There's a presence. I'm going to ask you a question here now. That which is seeing the constriction, is it touched by the constriction?
No,
Is it
no,
affected
it's
by
not.
it? No.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's just watching it.
It's just watching
It's
it.
just,
Exactly.
yeah. It's just right in front of it.
Yeah.
It's
Now,
just watching it.
exactly. So now, everybody, Christine's used to this, so I'm going to explain this a bit to everybody, Christine. What that tells us, the question I asked there, is it affected? Is this watcher affected by the constriction? And the answer was no. She can see, it can be seen clearly that the abandonment's here, and the watcher, so to speak, has like a separation from it, and it's simply, and just confirm this if you would, Christine, it's simply neutrally watching you. Is that correct?
It is.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
neutrally. It has no judgment about it, does it?
No.
No. Now, what this is, folks, is this is awareness. You see, what we most often do when, say, an emotion comes up, we say like, I am, and in this case, Christine might say constricted or feeling constricted. And what that does is that you then become that emotion or that feeling. But if you choose to take a step back and simply observe that the feeling or sensation of constriction is here, and notice that which is doing the seeing and is able to report is actually untouched and unmoved by it, which is what Christine's experience is right now. She can see that there's a sense of constriction, but it can also be noticed that it's that which is doing the seeing is actually just simply silently observing, and it's untouched and unmoved by it. This is the essence of my whole live stream, transmuting fear into love. As something arises, some discomfort, some pain, some suffering, there's an awareness that can see the arising. Now, if you go with the normal human conditioning, you become that experience. But if you go with awareness, you can simply see that this emotion, in this case constriction, arose. And it's now a felt sense in the body, and it's just simply being observed. And this observer has no judgment about that feeling or emotion of constriction. And as we simply look at it from within directly, I'm inviting Christine to do that, just simply allow it to be present without any judgment. Is there anything happening to this sense of constriction? Is there any change? Is there any increase or decrease in intensity?
It's lessening in intensity.
Lessening in intensity.
Yeah.
And that is a classic, she's just reported to us there, it's a classic result of not becoming that which is arising, but simply being the witness to it. This is the central piece in the Transmuting Fear into Love live stream 11 video. As one simply becomes or recognizes that one is actually the untouched observer, that which is arising is looked at directly by it. And this is it's like a light of awareness that's being shone upon the issue. And effortlessly, because you can see Christine's not doing a lot like right now, other than just listening to me and simply watching. Effortlessly, this awareness is touching every part of this constriction, shall we say, from the inside, and is transforming it. And she said it was lessening in intensity. As you continue to allow that process to unfold naturally, this can actually be completely dissolved just by watching. It may be that it comes in waves. There's a first wave and there's a second wave. It depends on how deep the issue runs. But let's just go back to Christine now. Where are we at with this constriction? Is it still there? It's still being watched, obviously. Where is it in intensity now?
It's decreased again. Right. I'd say on a scale from 1 to 10, how it was, the level when we started speaking about it, and you asked me to look at it. Then it was about a 9. And I would say now it's about, it was about a 9. And now it's about a 4.
Right, so it's halved, more than halved in intensity. More than halved.
Yeah.
So we're just going to continue to allow that to be there. We're not, there's no judgment. This which is doing the observing is completely fine. It's completely unmoved by it. It's completely okay. And I'll just look at this specific issue of abandonment, and whilst we're just watching this a little bit further. Because Christine told us that the first recollection that she had of this was in childhood. And then various experiences through life, including later in life as an adult, situations manifested which were kind of like energetic reminders of it. Now, when we trace abandonment back to its actual root cause, its true root cause, from a perspective of spiritual self-realisation, I'm going to offer some insight now. Actually, this is one of the key issues that can come up. And the reason it comes up is, you see, we are already that which we're truly seeking, which is the realized self, the infinite silence, or the infinite consciousness, or the infinite awareness. But as that's birthed and expressed in the body, what happens is conditioning takes place, and we become identified with the body. We believe that all we are is the body-mind. And what that does is it creates a sense of separation inside from the essence. And the ego mind, although it may not appear to be affecting us, say, much on a day-to-day basis, actually what it does is creates the polarity of love and the experience of love and fear. And so the ultimate abandonment is the sense that the ego mind has that it's somehow lost and separated from that which you really are. Is this making sense to you, Christine?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is where the root of abandonment comes from. There's this inner, apparently to the mind, inexplicable sense of separation. And that can become manifest in the human experience as we identify with being abandoned. And Christine gave us several examples of that, where something in childhood, maybe a work colleague left, or something which she was receiving treatment for, or whatever, that was like reinforcing this sense of abandonment that had been there from childhood. And all of these situations had a similar energetic signature. Is that all making sense to you, Christine?
I'm just having the Wi-Fi problems again a little bit. Sorry, Philip.
I'll carry on.
I'm going to have to play all this back when it's...
Yeah, I'll carry on. And then we'll check in again.
Just keep going.
Yeah, I'll keep going. So what that's doing, and we can check in with Christine, what that's doing, each of those situations in childhood, when at work, receiving medical treatment and so forth, actually has a similar energetic signature of abandonment from the first experience as a child. And this is actually the source of our emotional triggers in life. When we get triggered by an event, it's because that event has a similar energetic signature to the root cause event, which may have been an experience in childhood, and quite often it is an experience in childhood. And so life presents us, as we go through life, invitations or opportunities to realize what's going on. So each time that sense of abandonment happened for Christine, although it appeared perhaps from a space of different awareness to where she is now, as a challenge, and would have felt quite challenging energetically, emotionally perhaps. Actually, in truth, it was an invitation. It was life saying, actually, you know what, Christine, you're still carrying this sense of abandonment. And it goes back to that experience when you were a child. I don't know if you got any of that, Christine, but hopefully you got bits of it. So that's where the triggers come from, and they repeat through life until eventually you're prepared to look deeply enough into the issue and see it from a space of awareness. And that's the great opportunity to then let that energy that's been holding you back at some level dissolve. What is actually happening is that every time this crops up, it's an invitation.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, good. You can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So every time it crops up, it's an invitation to dissolve the root cause issue.
Yeah.
So just having heard all that now, what I've just shared, bits of it at least, where are we with this sense of constriction in the body?
We're about a 2.
A 2, so it's
still So it's dissipating. It's
dissipating, and you're not doing anything other than just listening to me.
No.
Or trying to listen to me.
Yeah.
It's just now. This is the power, folks, of awareness. Sometimes I say to people, the more effective you can be at this, just seeing this as an invitation, witnessing it, you can get on, sometimes I say it this way, with doing the dishes or loading the dishwasher or doing the ironing, and simply watching this and think, oh, this energy of constriction or abandonment is here. It's an invitation. I know that I am not that. So I'm just going to simply allow it to be here. I'm going to trust this watcher, this awareness, and effortlessly, on your part, it will simply dissolve. Just like that. Did you get that bit, Christine?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Yeah, good. And you can see that process happening now. Because we started up here at 9 and we've been working our way down without doing anything to a 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, sorry.
Carry on.
The thing is that the self is seeing all of this. The witness is there. It's seeing all of this, and there is definitely some amusement going on.
Fantastic.
As there often is when it's seen and it's witnessed. Sometimes there isn't. There is just that silent witnessing. Yeah. But sometimes, as you know, you've found that with me on previous occasions. That right now. There is. I just want to laugh about it, really, because again, it's like saying it's not real. It's not real,
Perfect.
and it's like it's kind of sitting back with its arms folded, just watching,
Yeah, brilliant.
That's how it kind of feels.
Fantastic, yeah. And that's perfect. And I have seen that with Christine over the years. She can quite often, as she has this deeper seeing, laughter will come up. And that's actually quite a common thing in the process of spiritual self-realization. And this is also why it's the realization of the self it's what's referred to as seeing the cosmic joke. Yeah, it's called the cosmic joke sometimes. It doesn't feel like a joke sometimes, but as the seeing arises, you can sort of laugh at all that trouble and strife that you put yourself through, and that Christine is having a bit of that experience right now.
Yeah,
you can see her sort of smile on her face because she's sort of seeing, that actually this idea that there was abandonment and I was abandoned was actually not is not correct. I was always this awareness. I was always this awareness.
Yeah.
And I just thought I'd been abandoned. I believed I'd been abandoned, and so I created the experience of abandonment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you see that, the relief from that can be such that it will create the experience of laughter.
Yeah.
Do you want to say anything about that, Christine? From your perspective?
Here we go again, Philip.
Yeah, feel free to laugh.
It is because it does, and it does often. This does often arise in me if I'm just witnessing because it's because of the unreality of it and really the ridiculousness of it.
Yeah.
That it's not truth, it's not real, it's
Fantastic. What I'm just going to do is just checking, because I can see quite a lot of comments here, and I just want to make sure that before they disappear off the screen, I just want to see. So let me just read a bit of that. Totally agree, Philip. One of my worst triggers is abandonment. So I think that people are starting to see that is one of the worst, and it is a fundamental one. I'm just going to go back up. Somebody's saying in their question, can I help myself get over a feeling? For instance, can I sing to make myself comfortable if I feel constricted? Or if I'm angry, can I let that out by punching a punching bag, for instance? Or is that counterproductive? Actually, we've already started to... Christine's laughing there, and I'm laughing with her. So you just continue with your process. She's not laughing at the questioner, by the way. She's laughing at the joke. You just continue. I'll just address this. We actually addressed that part of that question in what I was saying. It's just the seeing of it that's necessary. But interestingly, if you choose to punch the punch bag, that's actually okay, because the anger is then expressed. The key, though, in that is not to become the anger. Just, it's like watching yourself punching the punch bag. Watching that happening. And actually that will create the transformation. So singing to make yourself more comfortable could be possibly an avoidance strategy. What I would say to you is face it, feel it, allow it, don't judge it, and witness it, which is what we've been doing with Christine, and that's why she's having a good old laugh now at herself for what's been going on. So that's just that kind of addressing that. We've kind of addressed most of that already. What if you're blocked from watching by overwhelming pain that makes you cry? This is an important one. So if there needs to be a crying takes place, let yourself cry, but don't become the crying. Sometimes this can get very intense, but let it flow through fully, and simply just, don't judge it, don't judge yourself for it, don't say you are the crying or the pain. Just simply allow the feeling to be there and watch. And it will pass through so much quicker. And I just want to check back with where Christine is for the moment, because obviously this was mainly for Christine. Where are you right now with this constriction?
It's not even really constriction now, to be honest. It's just feelings of amusement, if you like. To put it that way. Yeah. So it appears that what's happened is it went up to 9, and it's just kind of dissipated, and now you're laughing at that whole energy. Does it feel like there's any more to arise here connected with this abandonment issue, or do you feel that's
kind of complete for now?
No, it kind of it just feels like it's dissolved.
Yeah, fantastic. The reason that's happened so effectively for Christine is that she's been prepared to trust this awareness, this seeing, this energy that sees the feeling, the emotion, and simply trust it. Now, granted, Christine's been coming to my events for probably 6 years or so now, and therefore is quite practiced at this, which is why she was a great person to volunteer for do this. But actually, with a bit of practice, you can get to that place very, very quickly. And I think you would say that yourself probably, Christine. You know, it becomes an effortless process. And going back to the inquiry part, the who am I question, you see, when we ask that question, who am I, from the space of the mind, the story will say, I am Christine, the body, the woman, I do this for a living or whatever. But awareness, when you ask without memory bit, will go, actually, I am awareness. And the awareness is untouched and unmoved and eternal. And so when I'm exploring people's challenges, the process I'm always taking them to is, which one are you? Are you the one that has this problem, this feeling, this constriction, this abandonment? Or is it more accurate to say, are you the awareness that can see that experience arising? Which feels more true to you, Christine?
I'm the awareness. I'm the witness. I'm not this feeling of abandonment. I'm not that. That isn't me. It's not. As I say, it's not. You know, it's not real. It's not the truth. It's not the reality. So it is just being witnessed.
Perfect.
It's just the being aware of it.
Yeah.
Just
and
watching it. That's it.
Exactly. Yeah. And this process we're exploring together with Christine here now. She's had a deep enough seeing to realise that this was just a wave in the emotional body that's built up over time, that has appeared, and is an invitation for it to be dissolved. And that's the way the process of spiritual self-realisation goes. These waves, these invitations arise by the triggers in life, and they're all invitations. They're all invitations. And if you can see them for what they are rather than challenges, then the path becomes a lot smoother and a lot easier. Has that been your experience, Christine?
Yeah, I would say so. I certainly in the last 2 years.
Yeah,
I would say that's been the case, and most definitely this year.
Yeah,
it's been more the case.
And what would you say has made the difference on that in the last year or two?
More awareness.
More awareness.
Yeah. More, just more awareness, and listening to you, and watching the live streams, and doing the meditation. Although I don't call it meditation, because there is no one there to meditate.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I know we put that term on it, that label on it, I know, but I don't call it meditation. I probably call it more contemplation, but and it's that, I would say, because that really kind of takes me deep inside, really, and I'm able to witness more, and it's there's been some powerful direct experiences as a result of that. So if I can say that, everything that, that I've followed everything that you've put on your websites, all the live streams, everything, the Zooms, and now with Jolene as well, I follow everything that Jolene posts, and it is really absolutely worth doing this, because it just results in a deeper and deeper seeing. And to me, there is no speeding up of the process. That doesn't come into it. I think it's more a deepening of the awareness and clearer seeing.
Yeah. So thanks for sharing that. I'm just going to look at some more comments here.
Okay.
Am I feeling triggered because my daughter has moved out recently and she is my only girl? I don't know who's asked that question, but there is, and I'd probably want to have a little bit more detail. But almost certainly, whoever's asked that question, that will be a big trigger for you. Families in particular, and siblings and children, it's very easy to become attached to them, because they go from a poor, not poor is the word, a tiny defenseless baby to an adult, and you very easily become attached to them. And so it's likely that will cause a trigger for you. And but the key to understand here is to accept that that's an invitation to move beyond that trigger. And also, and the key in a relationship, any relationship, but particularly with a child, what you're finding there is you're being invited to see is the difference between attachment and connection. The difference between attachment and connection. Attachment is our holding tight, not wanting to let go, wanting to sort of, say, protect a child from every experience, wanting them to always be there. Whereas connection is a setting free of that child, say, or a friend or another family member, to live their own life. And let them go through their own expression. It doesn't mean you don't care for them or love them, but actually in the setting of them free and not trying to project something onto them, you will feel a deeper connection to them, and they will feel freer as a result of it. So what that is essentially is for you to move from attachment to connection. I hope that makes sense to you, whoever asked that question. I'm going to look at the next one now. My second question is whether it's productive or counterproductive to find the root of a trigger. If you transmute a feeling for one same trigger regularly, does it ever go away, that this trigger doesn't bother you anymore? How long does that take? It is helpful, definitely, to get to the root of a trigger, but important to understand this. You will never get there from analysing it from the mind. Only awareness can do that. So, and if you trust awareness and use meditation, particularly the infinite silence meditation, which Christine was talking about, and allow that feeling to be there, awareness will show you the root source. It will also dissolve it. No effort required on your part. However, as to how long it takes, and this is the question I was trying to ask Christine, but she didn't hear me, will depend on how much you're prepared to trust that you are awareness. If your trust is total, that process will be very, very fast. But typically we take baby steps along the journey of trust. So that's a quick response to that one. How are you doing, Christina? Would you say you've trusted more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, years ago, if you want to put it in that kind of term, um, you know, like probably most people, I thought I was a person, and
Yeah.
it's only kind of in the last 2 years, you know, and like I said, maybe even more so this year, that you know, I'm not a person. You know, that has
Yeah.
nothing to do with what and who I truly am.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
and everything that's coming and going, they're just visitors, basically.
Yeah. Exactly
You know,
that.
and I am seeing that more and more.
Brilliant.
So the trust is
Brilliant.
there. Yeah, the trust and the know. It's not trust. It isn't trust.
Yeah.
It's knowing. It is absolutely
Perfect.
100%. It's knowing. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. You just said something very important there, so I'm going to elaborate on that for people now. We start off with trust, and we take baby steps along the journey of trust. And then we get to the highest form of trust, which is the knowing, which Christine just mentioned. So the highest form of trust is knowing, is not having to trust at all, because there's a knowing now that actually one is simply awareness. So that makes sense to you, Christine, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. I'm just going to go. Where are we now? Just going to check in on some more. So, oh yeah, I think somebody's just confirming because she's seeing from the awareness, which is correct. And the true self is totally unaffected. Somebody else is saying, Christine seems to have seen through this, but if the same thing happens again and she's feeling high emotions over this again, what is happening there? Okay, so sometimes these awarenesses and dissolutions come in layers. They come in waves. And life will present them to you in a way that you're ready for in this moment now. It's possible, for instance, that Christine has dissolved this completely. But life will always bring forth that which is the next highest thing for you to see and unfold. So awareness will bring that forth effortlessly. You won't need to go in search of it. You just need to trust and keep on meditating. So it may be that it's completely gone, or there may be some more. But we don't need to get lost in that process. It will just happen naturally. So that's the answer to that one. Let me have a look at that. Is Christine feeling happy now? Did you hear that, Christine?
I don't really know how to answer that, to be honest. Because happiness comes, you know, if you look at the personal, the happiness comes and goes, doesn't it? That isn't what you are. Yeah. So it's indescribable. You can't put words. You can't put words to it. You just can't.
Exactly.
You know.
And I'll expand on that a bit. What Christine's saying there, you see, happiness we experience in the human form ranges between happy. We go sort of happy, sad, stressed, and whatever. This awareness, this unchanging awareness, is untouched and unmoved, and it's beyond an emotive description, and it's beyond an event. You might be happy, say, if your team scores a goal in football, but then you might be sad when they concede a goal. That's an event-based happiness. This awareness is untouched by that. Yet, as it's realised in the form, and maybe Christine can help confirm what her experience of this is. there's like a gentle perfume that arises. It's almost like a subtle joy, a peace that is not based on external circumstances. Do you see that, Christine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So the answer to the question, is Christine happy now? Actually, she's aware. There's a joy for no reason there. There's a joy for no reason. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next one. We get a lot of members saying that they feel they can't meditate or use this awareness process because it's overwhelming. Can you say anything on this, please? Yeah, sure. This is quite a common question. So, using the same awareness that we've done, let's say 1 minute there was no sense of overwhelm, and then that arose, that sense of overwhelm, and that arising was seen. 1 minute it wasn't there, and next minute it arose. You are the one that saw that arising. You're not the feeling of overwhelm. What you've been taught is to believe is that you are the one that's overwhelmed. But actually that's not true. An energy of overwhelm appeared on the screen of consciousness to invite you to see it for what it is, that you're the witness, just like Christine did with the constriction. And as it's watched and felt without judgment, it will pass. It will pass. It may take a little longer than it did for Christine on this street, but if you can look at it in that way, you will see it will pass. The thing about people saying they can't meditate, the one that's saying that is the ego mind. And what it's trying to do is to prevent you from realizing this awareness. It's trying to keep itself safe. And that's another reason the sense of overwhelm is arising. You see, this awareness will eventually dissolve all of this sense of overwhelm. The one that's feeling overwhelmed is the ego mind identity, but the one that's seeing and untouched by it is the one that you really are. And ultimately, it will be seen that it's simply not true that one can't meditate. This is just an idea or a belief that the mind has that it can't use this awareness approach. So the key here is to keep going and to trust and to recognize what I'm saying about the difference between the witness and the appearance, the phenomena, the sense of overwhelm. So that hopefully answers that question in a brief way. We can pick up on more on this another time. Will we also be addressing the difference between connection and attachment, hopefully in a future video? Yes, we can do that. We can say more about that in a future video, Claire. How are you doing, Christine? I need to check back with you where you're at right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Brilliant. So, and is there any more to be explored with regard to abandonment as far as you're concerned right now?
No, I don't. No.
No, you don't feel that?
No, I don't. No, I don't think so.
Okay. So, tell you what, shall we just round the session off with say 10 minutes of meditation? Would that be good? Are you okay for that, Christine?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's everybody have a meditation. It will allow us to integrate what we've just explored, and then I'll make some closing remarks. So if you want to get yourselves comfortable, folks, we'll do a meditation. I've just seen your comment there, Beth, I'm a mess. What I want you to invite you to do as we go into the meditation is accept that sense of messness there, but just simply watch it, like I got Christine to do with the constriction. Simply accept it, simply allow it to be felt and watched as we go into the meditation. Don't fight it, and we'll see what happens. And I can see your later comment saying many thanks. So let's do this meditation now. Let's just close our eyes. And just bring your attention to your body. And just simply notice any feelings, emotions, sensations, and just simply watching them without any judgment. They're just there. Whatever they are, however strong they are, they're just being watched. And as you simply, silently watch, just be open from your heart to the experience of spheres of light. Just open to the experience of spheres of light. This energy of spheres of light is the same as the universal state. I am the universal, non-personal I am. This I amness can be seen or witnessed. This beingness can be witnessed by the silent witness in infinite silence. This I amness is watched, witnessed, seen. And you're moving deeper and deeper into the seeing of the silent witness. And this witness itself is dissolving like some ice in an ocean of water, melting, merging, becoming one with the water. And the water is an ocean of infinite awareness or infinite silence. And just for now, be open to this. In silence, we trust. In silence, you will realize your truth. In truth, you will realize you are silence. Infinite silence. Be still and know. Simply, silently resting in and as this awareness, and any phenomena are simply silently seen, accepted and embraced. Be still and know. Always you have been this awareness. Never has there been a time when you were not this. Be still and know. Resting here in and as this ocean of infinite silence. Knowing this awareness is eternally present. And as you continue to rest in this, in a moment I'll ring the Tingsha bells 3 times. Continue to rest in this silent awareness. And as the sound of the Tingsha bells has faded away, becoming aware of your body, the chair you're sat on, or whatever you may be lay on. Aware of the space, but the attention is rested always in and as this silent awareness. And whenever the moment is right for you, you can open your eyes. Namaste. 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 Good. So, just want to check in with Christine again, just to, she's been our guest this evening. How are you doing, Christine?
All right. Fine.
Good.
Yeah, unfortunately I had to just very quickly change room because
right.
I was losing power, so I had to kind of get the charger in place. But yeah, fine.
No worries. You're fine though. Okay, yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Well, I really want to thank you, Christine, for being our first sort of guest on doing this live. We've done this on Zoom calls and live in events many times, but actually doing this so that we can share in the group and so forth was something that I was keen to try. So I really want to thank you, myself, and behalf of everybody watching, for being open to that process, and thank you for sharing your insight and being brave enough, shall we say, to give that a go.
No problem. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I think, is there anything else you want to say to anybody about your experience here tonight or your journey that you'd like to share with people? I think you said some of it earlier, but is there anything else you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, it's worth doing this. It's been worth doing this because it does help you to kind of focus, if you like. This, as I said, this issue I've kind of had for a long time, and as it's been coming up so much recently, that it was time to look at it. And there was fear coming up.
Yeah.
Because obviously the ego is it's fighting it. It doesn't want you to get to the bottom of it or the root cause of it. And so it was time to look at this, and I knew that. So I'm very, very grateful to you for doing this and for the invitation to do this. I I express much gratitude to you, Philip. Thank you so much. Thank you
You're welcome.
so much.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's, this is my calling. This is my life now, really, sharing this message with the world. Some of you may not know, but in my previous life, and it does seem like a previous life now, I was a chartered civil engineer and director of business, and I felt the calling very strongly about 15 years ago and followed it to its natural conclusion, which was the realization of the self. And in that process, it was been made clear to me that sharing this message was very much what I was here to do. And so it's a joy for me to share that with people like Christine, people watching here live. I hope that you've found some benefit from that. And as Christine has said, the journey is worth it, because the peace and stillness and joy that for no reason that arises from this is so untouched and unmoved by it. You really, that's why you're here, is to realize this. And I think you would probably affirm your own journey with that, Christina.
Yeah, definitely.
Good. So what I'll do is just have a look to see if there's any final comments here. So there's a few people saying thank you to us, various people. Some of the names I can't see, but so there's lots of thank yous. Somebody watching from Berlin in Germany, so that's good. So Beth, yeah, it sounds like you need to have a look at live stream 11 from what Jolene's written here, which is the transmuting fear into love process, where I explain what I've shared tonight in greater detail. So do have a look at that, and we can pop the link of that in the comments, perhaps, Jolene, for Beth. I want to thank Jolene for moderating the comments and copying them across. For some reason, this StreamYard tool doesn't pick up the comments in the group. It doesn't. It's because of privacy settings. So we have to. Jolene has to sort of summarise them. So that's what we've done. Somebody else saying thank you so much. It's been beautiful to see you, Jolene. It's a question to both Christine, and it's been beautiful to see you. Oh, Jolene, sorry, yeah, right, yeah, that was from Jolene. And thank you to Christine and to myself, and thank you, Christine, for sharing your story. So yeah, everybody's very, very grateful for this. I'm sure people will have got a lot from this, because it's one thing for me to talk about it theoretically, so to speak, with people, but it's another to see it, shall we say, in direct experience with somebody live. So thank you so much again to Christine for that. And Jolene's saying, yeah, and in fact Christine is taking part in this. Jolene has chosen to do a 14-day meditation experience, so a 14-day meditation experiment. And for that, she's using, I think it's twice a day, the newly created 14-minute infinite silence meditation. That's on my YouTube channel, and it's also on the app called Insight Timer. And I think Jolene's going to post the links to both of those. So if you want to join Jolene in that journey, I don't think there's a set time. It's just using that meditation, whether on Insight Timer, on my profile on Insight Timer, or on my YouTube channel, twice a day for the next 14 days, just to see what happens. And I know Christine's taking part. So if Jolene hasn't posted the links already, I'll pop them in. So do join that journey if you feel called to give that a go and see what happens for you. And then finally, I'm probably going to go live again on the solstice, the winter solstice here in the UK, summer solstice if you're in the southern hemisphere. I haven't decided what time yet, and that will be for an infinite silence meditation of about half an hour. So look out for an announcement of that on the group and also on my page. And I think that's pretty much everything. Just finally, to thank Jolene for moderating the comments. She's posting the links to Livestream 11, and I think she's going to post the links to the 14-minute meditation both on my channel and on Insight Timer. And if you haven't got Insight Timer, it's a free app, and I've got a number of meditations and things on there. And if you follow my profile, same with YouTube, you get notified when I put new resources on there, and I'm constantly adding new resources. I can see the Insight Timer link's just gone up. So I think that's probably it from us. I think I want to thank Christine one more time for this. So I'm going to give you some harp, folks. Just bear with me a moment. So I'm going to close the stream in a short while, folks. Thank you for joining us. Have a beautiful morning, afternoon or evening, wherever you are. Philip Wade here, along with my friend Christine, signing off from the Universal Studio in North Yorkshire. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you live again on the solstice for a live infinite silence meditation. Namaste and